Good morning. This morning I want to talk to you about remembering God. Certainly this is a epic time that which we're in. We have a lot of things that we can remember this time by. We could remember all the long grocery store lines that we have to wait in. Certainly we could remember the frustration that we have this time being isolated at home. We could remember the anxiety which we feel when we're afraid to get sick from the virus. We could remember running out of toilet papers. We could remember this time, and there's a lot of things that we absolutely are just wishing that is over right now, and these are the things that we remember. However, I think about when God calls us to remember things, He calls us to remember Him. There's a story in Joshua chapter 4 where God actually called Joshua to go and set up these rocks of remembrance. What happened was that the Israelites were crossing the river Jordan into the land of Israel. And when they're crossing to Israel, they had to cross this river. And this river is full of water and coming down, from the Golden Heights. And God did something miraculous. God actually parted the river. He did something that He did for Moses, like He did for the Red Sea, but except this time for the river Jordan, and really established Joshua in the eyes of the people. But while the river is parted, that is the river Jordan, as the people were walking through, God had the people pick up these stones. And these are the rocks of remembrance in which people would know that remember God by. And they pick out these stones and they bring them out to the side of the river and set up these piles of stones in which if the Israelites were ever to come back this area and ask, why are these stones here? And these are humongous stones. And the fathers, the grandfathers will be able to tell the children, these stones are here because God is faithful to lead us. He's faithful to part this river. He's faithful to give us what He promised. He's the faithful one that leads us through the trials, through the wilderness, into the promised land. He's the Savior of our lives. And I think about this time, what would you remember? Would you remember just the long grocery store lines? Would you remember the frustration? Or would you remember God's goodness? I think about my own life, and there's a lot of good things now to remember God by. We're taking walks in the morning, we're taking walks in the afternoon, and Matthew's learning how to scooter, Emily's learning how to do the balance bike, Sophia just taking off in her bicycle, and we had to call her to come back. And we're taking pictures of Sophia's homework because now we have to turn them in on the internet or online and to her school teachers, and it's a lot of things to remember by because we're taking pictures. But I want to ask you, how would you remember this time? Maybe it means that you would journal. Maybe it means that you would take long walks in the morning when no one's up and spend some time with the Lord. And would you remember this time instead of the frustration, but God's goodness and His faithfulness to lead you through?